AFL26 fans, it's time. It's time to get into the sexy stuff, the stuff you've been wanting to see all along. And we're going to start off with, we'll have a look at the menu first and foremost. And then the very first thing that I did when jumping into the game is I actually did the tutorials at the advice of J&T Big Ant and the Big Ant crew, because there's a couple of different things to get used to now with some different controls and things like that. And as you will see from some of the examples I gave, it was very much worthwhile to go in there and test out the tutorials first. So let's jump across now and check out what the screen and the menu looks like, and then we'll roll into the tutorials from there. Alrighty, so here we are, the AFL26 menu. The first time people have seen the menu. I mean, a menu's a menu, isn't it? It looks pretty clean and fresh, and it's new and different. So we've got Play Now, Season, Player Career, Management Career, Pro Team, Play Online, Tutorials and Guide, Academy, and Settings. So all fairly self-explanatory. Player Career is obviously one of the new modes that's coming where you're an individual player, which we'll get to in a separate video. Management Career, we saw some screenshots of earlier in the week about managing the club and some funds and memberships and things like that, which we'll get to in a video as well. We're going to head to the tutorials though, because that's where everyone should be starting, because there is some learning curves to be had from AFL26, it must be said. I'll pause it there. So we've brought up the tutorial menu. As you can see, there's basic tutorials and advanced tutorials. Now I do go and show what the advanced tutorials are later on, which I'll show in this video. I didn't physically do these ones, but I'll show you what's in that list. But from a basic tutorial standpoint, you've got goal kicking, disposals, marking, tackling, and ruck work, which are obviously the fundamentals of the game. Then within those, there's a certain amount of drills in each one. So goal kicking, there's set shots, then there's kicking goals on the run, so on and so forth. So I had a crack at all of these. And as you can see from some of them, some I wasn't good at, some I was okay at. And I highly recommend people do take the time to do the tutorials before you start playing. First up, let's take a look at the set shot goal kicking tutorial. Now we know the set shot mechanism has changed. It's not the thumbstick like a few of us, including myself, speculated and thought. It is different though, and it is a lot more difficult than what the 23 version was, which you'll see very shortly with my first few kicks. I'll bring it up and then we'll talk through what it looks like from there. Okay, so on the loading screen for the goal kicking tutorial, some tunes in the background. I'll pause it there quickly so we can read what it says. So basically for your set shot goal kicking tutorial, you got to kick 3 goals. So previously in AFL23, when you had a set shot for goal, the crosshair would come up in the goal and you would move it up, down, left, right, aim wherever you want it to go. This time in AFL26, you only have to move it up and down. The left to right piece comes into play in the second shot meter, which you'll see soon. So you hold B to set your power. The more power you impart on the shot, the harder it is to time, which is similar to what we had for AFL23. The kicker is the second one. Press B where to aim the cursor or where you think the player should kick the ball towards. Now, I'll let it run through so you can see what it looks like. However, just keep an eye on the power bar, especially for the second part of it, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I'm entering the set shot tutorial as Tex Walker. So you can see you got your first power bar there, which I powered right up. Now that bar, I'll stop it again after, but you can have a look at how this kick goes. This second bar, bearing in mind, I'm at the top of the goal square here with a key forward, and I've absolutely smashed that out in the full, much to the J&T Big Ant's amusement. So you can see there that the goals that are on there are actually what dictate the left to right side of things of where you want to kick it. So I actually nailed that shot, thankfully. Okay, so I've managed to pause it on one of the set shots. So you can see this is the second bar graph that we've got when it comes to kicking the set shot. You've got the goals that are on that bar. Now the goals look a lot straighter and a lot more wider because I used less power. So the more power that you use, the sharper that angle is going to go. And I'll show you the first one in a second to give you the comparison because I try to kick the cover off it. But within this goal, these goals, that's where you've got to select where you're aiming to kick the ball. So if they're a natural right footer and they've got that right to left and there's wind, then you've got to try and aim to the right of the goalpost, obviously like we would usually do in 23, and mirror it for the left-hand side. But what dictates how easy it is to land the ball inside that goal line is the power that you use for the shot and also the goal kicking stats for your player. So you'll see when I play a game afterwards that I had a shot for goal with Seth Campbell, who's not a bad forward, not as good as Tex Walker in terms of goal kicking. And yeah, his was really difficult to land that in between. So with this as well, the tutorial, you can see the kicks are getting further and further back. With someone like Tex, though, you probably don't need to use max power, but it's always good to play around with just to see, yeah, what you have to do. So you can see I stopped it in the middle there. He's wiping his hand on the backside. and bang, straight through. Bit further back again. Worth noting as well, there's no wind or anything like that. For the purpose of the tutorial, they keep it nice and simple so you can just get used to the mechanism. As you can see there, that goal was quite small. I'll play that again. I'll watch this one. I'll see if I know this one. So you can see the power, and then you can see how narrow and how much more of an angle those goalposts are on to try and land it in between. That's what you're working with. And that one, I think I might have done okay here. We'll see how it goes. Oh, see, I've still missed it. I landed that in the middle, so I needed to get it closer to the right-hand side. So you can already see the difficulties that I'm not saying I'm a great player, but for picking it up and playing for the first time, you can see the difficulty it's creating in trying to kick these goals from distance. And I finally slot one from distance, and that's with Tex Walker, who's a known goal kicker. So have fun with that. Make sure you do these tutorials, especially for the goal kicking, because it's bloody difficult. The next one we've got is a running shot at goal. Kick 3 goals on the run. Hold B to start it, and then, yeah, you just run in. And the kicking on the run is the same as what we had in AFL23, so there's no real change there. It's one of those difficult ones that it's kind of hard to make mass changes to that kind of kicking on the run. There's a lot of active things going on in the game that need to be considered. So that's where that one's still the same as 23. The next tutorial is kicking perform 3 kicks. You can power up your kick and then release it. You're not kicking to anyone or anywhere in particular. You're just kicking the ball, so which is your normal kick button. Again, these tutorials are obviously very basic and straightforward with the kicking and the passing, but good just to do to get a feel for it nonetheless. And you'll obviously tick these ones off pretty quickly. As we'll see the Anzac logo on the ground as well, which is kind of cool. Handball for the next one, same button for the handball. So I was just pushing the button to handball it to do it because that's what the tutorial said to do. Again, simplistic, basic, but good to just get an idea of the handball button if you aren't already familiar with it. In terms of that ball tracing, I didn't ask, but I'm assuming that can be turned on and off like it was in the game last year, I would assume. Now, clearance kick still in the game. Hold left trigger plus kick. This was a very handy button for me last year getting out of trouble. So you can just hold it and you obviously lose accuracy. They've actually increased the distance a little bit on these kicks, but the accuracy can sort of still be wayward, which is exactly what you would expect from a clearing kick. That's exactly what it is. So that's all that for the clearance kicks. Next one is marking. Now, marking is a little bit different again this year. It's still the same button. You got to press Y or triangle, depending on what you're playing on, when the circle closes in on you. So you can see the circle close in and it went green, and I mistimed that first one and didn't mark it. So I've timed the second one a bit better and managed to get the grab. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and obviously a little bit of it comes down to the player stats that you're using as well, which in game. I completely missed all the buttons there and decided to kick a volley mid-air. I'm just, changing the game up a little bit. Why not? Even heard a bit of a stand call there. So there you go. Nailed the 3 marks. So it's still very much all about timing and positioning, but just a bit more of a different visual. Perform 3 spoils. Spoiling, same as 23 with the right analog stick. Again, you've got to make sure you time it because, there's obviously the marking, the specking, there's all kinds of stuff. So you can see that spoil actually dropped straight at our feet. It didn't actually clear any distance because it was a bit more of a one-on-one battle, but you can get 3 spoils pretty quickly. But I feel like you're going to have to really work out your balance of marking versus spoiling even more so now because it's a bit trickier again to take those grabs. I'm sure we'll all get used to it. Speckies. Speckies now need to be triggered by the left trigger to do it. And you'll see 2 arrow up icons appear when you're going to do it. And then the Y indicator again to time the specky like we'd done for AFL23. The difference is that left trigger you must now press to activate it. So you would have seen very quickly at the start there the double arrows pointing up, which signifies that I'm going for a specky. See there? But with that particular one, I got to the contest too quickly and couldn't execute the jump. Again, I did the same thing. So if you don't actually time the run and jump while doing the left trigger, it won't do it. So I kind of feel like this means we might see less specky spam because there's a bit more, it feels like there's a bit more skill and timing to it, whereas you could kind of just sit back off the pack and just almost auto run and jump at it and you would nail it. So that one I finally got. I almost missed it. You saw it come up orange. I almost missed it. So yeah, left trigger, you see the 2 arrows, and then you've got to time your run with the flight of the ball to be able to complete the specky. So a bit more skill-based, a bit more challenging, should hopefully see less specky spam, which can only be a good thing. Jostling. You can jostle in a marking contest by pressing X on Xbox or square for PlayStation. Now, this doesn't always activate. This is mainly dependent on being in a one-on-one contest. So if you push it and it doesn't work, it's not that it's broken, it's just that it's always a little bit circumstantial and works in certain environments better than others. So you can do it, yeah, you'll see in the contested marking situation where you can actually outbody your opponent to pretty much get a clear run at an uncontested mark, which is obviously very, very helpful. And again, player stats are going to play a role in this as well in terms of, yeah, what their attributes are like. So you can see I shoved him off to the side, taking the mark, which was good. It's a bit of a timing thing as well, so you've got to wait till that circle closes in. Stand. They're telling us to stand. The stand rule is in the game, by the way. I just thought I would flag that very early. The stand rule is in the game. So jostling and pushing and fighting for position in mark contests is now a real thing, which is good. I do like that addition. Again, it's all about balance. You want to make sure that this isn't being spammed. So I'm sure they're going to keep an eye on this when it comes to online games, because you don't want a specky fest and you don't want just a complete jostle fest and pushing everyone out of the way. Might move my big head out of the way for this one so you can see the player running at the ball carrier. But yeah, tackling, like I said, make sure you let go of sprint. That is the biggest issue that people had last year. I've gone around the wrong way first and foremost. Then yeah, laid the tackle. Player got his arms up, so you can obviously get rid of the handball if you are controlling the player being tackled. So I think that's two different, it looked like it was two different animations. And then one where he's trying to barge through. So tackling, same buttons, same mechanism. Make sure you let go of sprint. Perform 3 evades. If you want to see something very comical, you're about to witness me not understand how to evade because I was talking while reading, while not concentrating, and I think I stuffed up the first 3 or 4. But use the right analog stick to evade the incoming tackler. Move to the left or right to perform an evasive maneuver. So you things like your don't argues and stuff like that. Does work well when you understand what you're doing, unlike what I did the first few times. Here we go. Watch me botch this one. Get tackled, bang, straight on the ball. Anyway, I do end up getting a couple right here, but you can see some good tackle animations there as well, so I'm probably showing something else, which is good. I did try fend off a little bit too early there, and then I think I start to realise what I have to try and do. So I fended off and was able to get by. So using the right analog stick, good stiff arm to the chest there, put him to the ground, and was able to play on. Held the ball out, tried to balk him way too early there. So a few different animations. I've got wrapped up again. So if you play against me online, please don't tackle me because you're probably going to bring me to the ground. But yeah, pretty cool with the evasive stuff. I think we'll have a bit of fun with that. Someone like a Dusty Martin should be a lead at that because, again, the fending off stuff is all about your stats too. Bumps, side-by-side bumps. Perform a bump by running towards the opponent and pressing X. So X or square if you're on PlayStation does the bumping. So that's going to help clear time and space between the person chasing the play with the ball and things like that. So jostling to the contest, was able to shove him out the way. There's no ball. There is a ball there to pick up in the Amy symbol, but as soon as you lay the bump, it kind of triggers the tutorial. So you can see there's a couple of different animations there. Again, you can give away free kicks by doing this as well. For the purpose of the tutorial, I don't think it honours a free kick because there's no umpire, but just so you know, in the game, that may happen. Protective bump, so you can actually protect the man who's got the ball by laying a shepherd, which is something we don't see enough of in AFL football because the players are scared to do it. But as you can see, I was able to shepherd and block the guy who didn't have the ball. Well, I didn't protect him very well there. In fact, I think he gets run down. It's all about timing and making sure you've got the right body position to be able to execute the bump. And again, that's just X or square. But bumping, as per the trailer, like we saw with Bailey Smith, is there. And I've missed a couple of bumps there, which hasn't helped old mate with a footy. But then I get a nice bump in there, and you can see it puts him off balance, slows him down, so your teammate with the ball can get away. Okay, next up, perform 3 tap hit-outs. Nothing really different at all with the ruck tapping hit-out. I do want to say straight away that don't all get up in arms about the midfielders in this video not being on the move. The purpose of this video has nothing to do with the midfielders, so they are stationary and are there for looks only. This is all about the 2 ruckmen and being able to tap the ball. So don't freak out when the midfielders aren't moving. It's nothing to do with them. It's all about your ruck tapping, which is the right analog stick, as it was last year, with the timing of the ball, of course, as the circle closes in. And it's obviously going to depend a bit on the ruckman you're using as well and their height and their ruck skills. I always feel at a disadvantage because I play as Richmond and Ankervis isn't a tall ruckman. But he was able to punch one forward. Little did I know there was actually a punching forward tutorial straight after this. But yeah, ruck contests are definitely winnable, are definitely fine. And like I said, don't worry about the midfielders not moving here. It's not what it was designed for. Performing a punch hit out, hold left trigger and use the right analog stick, exactly the same as what we were using last time in AFL 23. Big punch forward there. Love to see it. And bang, punches it forward. So that is the ruck punch, if you want to call it that. Very handy trick. So there are all the basic tutorials. Now, I did click over across to the advanced tutorials. Like I said, I didn't actually do these ones because of time. But you can see there you can do a banana tutorial, a snap tutorial, a torpedo tutorial, soccer for goal, snap, banana for goal, dribble goal, torpedo on the run, and set shots including weather. So that way you get a bit of a different feel with how the wind takes effect and all different weather elements and how that means you've got to adjust your set shots. So that is the tutorials for AFL26. Like I said, highly encourage everyone to do these before you start playing because there's a lot of new features, especially the goal kicking. That's going to be the biggest challenge. But yeah, make sure you do all those first. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and hopefully you enjoyed the tutorials. And the next video will be more about gameplay and a couple of different game modes. So hang around for those, but enjoy this one as well.